But I got to ask you while you're here about Twitter, just because this is really stunning. I think what's happening with Twitter, because on some level it's like it's case study for the one of the arguments you're making in your book. I mean, like, Elon Musk is really showing himself to have absolutely no idea what he's doing. And it's fascinating. And it's also like the idea that he could marshal $46 billion for doing that, or 44 or whatever it was, to do what he's doing. It really is stunning. I mean,
well, it pops a bubble in the myth of meritocracy. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was saying, like, maybe he's going to play off the whole Twitter blue thing like it was an April Fool's joke or something like that. But I mean, it really is fascinating how much he doesn't seem to understand the product that he has. How much, like, what is it that, because I think, like, he has been sort of this type of charlatan for quite some time. I mean, I'm one of those people who paid the $100 for the solar shingles years ago, and then they just sort of disappeared. And I'm like, wait, what? How many people are this? And I just saw a story from CNBC yesterday about, like, they haven't installed. They've installed, I don't know, 1,200 of these things over the past 5 years, and they were supposed to be doing thousands a day. But I mean, is this all just caught up to him or what?
Oh, God knows. It's probably all that money is going to Grimes' alimony payments. I have no idea. But the moment that I thought that Twitter was over was actually the moment they went public. I knew this guy, Evan Williams, who was one of the founders of Twitter. And the day that they went public, they put the founders of Twitter on the cover of the Wall Street Journal, and they put a number under each one of their faces of how much money they earned that day. And under Evan, it was like 4.3 billion. And I was thinking, this poor guy, how are investors going to make 100x or 1,000x of something that already he made 4.3 billion on? This is a 140 character messaging app, right? And within months, Wall Street was calling Twitter a failure because Twitter was only making $2 billion a year, right? Imagine calling your grandma and saying, I made a 140 character messaging app. It makes $2 billion a year. Isn't that pretty good? Shouldn't you be able to stop there? But no, they can't, right? Because they took all this investment. So at that point, Twitter was no longer about 140 character messaging app. It wasn't even about the 280 character expansion. It was about, it had to be something else, that Twitter became the foothold for something else. So what Elon Musk is imagining is really Twitter becoming a bank, Twitter becoming a finance system, becoming the ultimate PayPal. That he was one of the original. Musk and Thiel were the founders. So I think he's thinking of it as, let's just get this thing sustainable enough so I can keep my user base or grow it to the point where I can start doing the real thing, some blockchain-y transaction yada yada with it. But it's the way digital always is, that the company, any product, anything you're doing in digital, you've basically sold it to the mob. It's no longer the thing. It's the storefront on the other thing, right? Mm-hmm. So Twitter is not a messaging app. Twitter is a gateway. It's a portal to some other suite of business or financial tools that Musk wants to
we
use
don't
later.
know about at this point. I mean, this is like what
he doesn't.
Cory Doctorow's concept of enshittification, right? Like we're in like a third stage enshittification at this point, where it's just sort of being used as a mechanism to get to somewhere else. But there's no reason to believe that, that anybody's going to trust the platform anymore for that something else at this point.
How could you trust a platform that the second day he had this thing, he warned any advertiser who leaves this platform, I'm going to do thermonuclear Twitter war against you? That's a great sign. Don't touch the platform. If leaving it, could you imagine going into a relationship with someone who just did that to the person before? Right? It's like,
no, absolutely not.
And what's so interesting, though, about all of this, just cesspool of bullshit, is that I saw that a few weeks ago, or maybe it was a week ago, Facebook, or Meta, I should say, said, well, we're going to actually start out rolling out our own paid verification program. Because, that's going so well for Twitter. But it speaks to what you're saying. It doesn't really matter about the functionality of it. they're trying to turn, now that we're in whatever stage we're in of like endless growth bumping up against the practical realities of these companies. It doesn't matter if the idea is good or bad or it's a total shit show. They want to monetize this, and they need to, because they have a fiduciary duty to their shareholders, and that's going to bring down the death of these platforms. It's going to cause the death of these platforms 100%.
Right. I mean, the one place where it's interesting what they're doing is in a world of deep fakes and AI manufactured identity, being able to verify who you are would be interesting. Like, Clear. I always see these rich people going through the Clear line at the airport, and it's like, ooh, they figured something out, right? So the idea that there will be a way to verify, no, this is really, really me. Do I trust Twitter to do that? No. But whoever does figure that out, how to truly authenticate, how to watermark myself, when I'm doing a video or a thing, would be an amazing thing. I don't think they can do it. I ultimately don't think a once removed symbol system can verify us. I think we live in a world where at some level you're going to have to trust other humans, some authority, the New York Times or the BBC or the government or the police, that human civilization is built finally on interpersonal human to human trust. And you build institutions out of trust. And the dream that you could do this automatically on a blockchain, that you can substitute for all forms of human trust with technology, I think is a failed mission.
Well, that's what's fascinating about his whole idea of paying for verification, because that's not what verification is. Like the paying for verification is not, nobody's verified here, like in that situation.
Right.
It's the money. It's like you're buying a status symbol, as opposed to the value to the readers was just whether you like them or not, or whether, if Fox News is telling me something, I just want to know that it's Fox News. And because then I have all of my experience, sort of like I can apply that experience. I can apply the years of reading it or my knowledge outside of that. I mean, it doesn't matter whether I like it or not, or whether they're popular or not. It just allows me to use my personal experience and judgment. But if I don't know that it's Fox News, I just know that somebody paid, that it's just someone had a credit card. Like, there's no way, it's like he doesn't understand. Right. That was what the value of it is.
He does understand. It's just he's trying to take this bulk of people and turn it into something monetizable. I mean, that's the entire thing about Twitter Blue, but that's the reality, is he wants to monetize this and create a subscriber base and doesn't care if it looks dumb as hell.
Right. And there's the interesting thing is what they do is they back to history. They replace provenance. They replace history with something else. So we lose our story. We lose the whole thing that led to it. And the idea is, no, I can create authenticity in the moment, instantly, digital. There is no history. There is no past. There is no externalized harm. There is no nothing. There's only this now, right? This right now where I am king, and that's a dangerous world to live in.